The WOCA. Ocala.
All right, 5 minutes after 9 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in this Monday morning. Hope you're doing well. Robin, yesterday I drove to Orlando, and when I was much younger, and I would drive a lot more than I do now, I would always be tuning my radio to whatever the top 40 radio station was within that listening area, right?
Yes.
So I thought, it'd be fun to do. So I put on, top 40 radio, and there was a song on there by a guy who was singing about the fact that he was writing a song because his girlfriend was so pretty. And I was thinking, wow, that's been done before. But he had such a high singing voice. I don't know if it's real or if it was done with a computer. But, we go through this with singing anyway. If you go to, like, our parents' era, this kind of gives away how old we are. Like, you had the Sinatras. And, well, even when Sinatra was younger, he had a higher voice. But, like, the deeper voices for male singers were more in tune with that time. When we were kids, the Beatles, John Anderson, remember from Yes?
Oh, yes.
Had that high voice. There were some exceptions, like Kenny Rogers and Neil Diamond had kind of a deep voice, right? But for the most part, for the majority of the singers, Gary Wright, Dreamweaver, remember?
Yes.
Dreamweaver!
That's right.
Remember Robert Plant? Remember?
Of course. Yeah.
And so it's like, how do you... And now you watch American Idol or any of these shows, and the winner in the male singer category, it was almost cookie cutter. They almost sound the same. That's kind of one of my complaints about that show, because Bob Dylan would never win these days. And nobody ever said Bob Dylan was a great singer, by the way, but everybody liked his song. I guess that was the thing there. Speaking is a whole different world, but the same thing happens here in like talk shows. I've noticed sometimes that the voiceover guy, like during the commercials, speaks way better than I do. In our case, one of the voiceover guys happens to work here.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so the guys with the shows don't always speak as well as the voiceover talent. It's pretty amazing. It's probably, and I said this before, that you might argue that Ed McMahon had a better speaking voice than Johnny Carson. I am nothing wrong with Johnny Carson's voice, but I mean, if you were going to put them in a competition, just speaking alone, nothing else. Lisa Popeil is on the phone. She is a beautiful lady, and I've heard her speak, and she speaks really beautifully. Yes. She's been on everything. She is one of America's foremost singing and speaking voice experts. I'm going to pay attention. Maybe I need some pointers here.
Me too.
She's been in everything. USA Today, Hollywood Reporter, Variety, Music Connections, Woman's Day. It goes on and on and on. Her last name may sound familiar to you. We want to focus on her abilities, but she is related to some famous names. Sam Popeil was the creator of the Veg-O-Matic and the Pocket Fisherman, which I always wanted to buy one. Missed out. And Ron Popeil, you know him, the Ronco dehydrator, the pasta machine, etc. Is she a singer and songwriter herself?
Yes.
She's a songwriter?
Yes.
And she's got something called the VoiceWorks Method and the Total Singer, the 5 secrets to beautiful speaking and singing. Lisa, I think one of my rules is to make my intros shorter. Good morning, Lisa.
Good morning, Larry. Nice to be here.
Where are you?
I'm in Los Angeles. It's early.
Thank you for getting up early for us.
Yeah.
The early morning voice, though, sometimes works in radio. You just get up, get out of bed, get to the microphone.
Yes.
That's the voice of the day, huh?
Sometimes. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, a lot of people have reflux, and so when they get up in the morning, they can't help it. They could be hoarse, and the voice actually gets less hoarse and less gravelly through the day. So reflux is not a good situation. And a lot of singers have reflux. I mean, anyone of any age, babies have it. Any age you can have it. But it's when the stomach acid comes up and it actually burns the vocal cords. And it turns out that singers, just the act of singing, can exacerbate it. So it's not something that you want to expose your little vocal cords to.
Oh wow! Does a dynamic speaker exert as much energy in speaking as a singer might, or like a real forceful singer?
That's an excellent question. I've never been asked that, and I would say that no matter how forceful the speaker, singing at that volume takes more energy because you have to hold things out, and that takes a really steady control of air pressure. And I think of a dynamic loudspeaker who's speaking in short bursts. It's high pressure in short bursts, but if you listen to an opera singer singing over 100-piece orchestra with no microphone for hours at a time, that's exhausting.
Wow.
Whole body, and in a way that you wouldn't use it in any other way. So when I'm training singers, we have to train to strengthen certain muscles that otherwise wouldn't need to be strengthened, like teeny muscles between the ribs in the upper chest or the side ribs or the back. All of those have to be super strong to be able to hold something out a long time.
Do you know what I've always been confused at, and I guess I gave up trying to figure it out. People say speak from your diaphragm. Mm-hmm. I don't know how to do that. I don't even know how to know the muscle. How do you even work the muscles you're talking about?
It is the biggest myth about voice use, about singing from the diaphragm. And if you ask people, where's the diaphragm, they'll invariably touch their abdomen and say, isn't it here?
Yeah.
And I have had actually over the decades teachers who would touch 5 different places on my belly saying, sing from your diaphragm. So not only is the diaphragm not there, but it didn't tell me how I was supposed to use it.
Yeah,
so
and how do you feel it? So you're telling me that was a bunch of junk?
It is.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You were right all along, Larry.
I couldn't feel it. I was like, how do you use it?
If someone who's listening is interested in the diaphragm, because it seems to be such a mysterious place, there's a terrific 3D animation. You just go to YouTube and you put in 3D diaphragm, and you will see it moving, and you'll see where it is. But it's in your rib cage, like a dome, kind of like a jellyfish dome, and it sits below your lungs. And you can't touch it, you can't feel it. It's a special muscle. I mean, it's mostly involuntary, I'll put it that way. It's mostly involuntary. But what you can control are the abdominal muscles, and they are connected, meaning if the diaphragm is working, it's contracting, it's flattening down, opening the lungs up, it actually pushes your upper belly out. So you can, by touching the upper belly, you can see if your diaphragm's working, but it's not the diaphragm.
Do you know who I like? That's a modern, I guess he's modern, is Josh Groban. I like the way he sings. Mm-hmm. I also think he speaks well. And sometimes that doesn't happen, where somebody who's a great singer is also a good speaker.
I've heard that too. I've heard several opera singers who sing so gorgeously, and then they speak, and you cannot believe it's the same person. So I agree with you. I was listening to what you were saying earlier about men sounding like men versus men sounding like boys.
Right.
And there's this current trend for men to sound younger and younger, even though they may be in their 20s or 30s, they sound like they're 12 or 13. The strainier, the better. And I think in the crooner era, men were invited to sound like men. You could be a bass, you could be a baritone, and you could have hit records. And that's much rarer now. It's youth culture. It's probably post-war youth culture. Teenagers, they don't want to buy records that sound like they're listening to their dad.
Right.
That's
Right.
what I think is the root of that. But speaking and singing are really two different things. A lot of people will practice their singing, but when they speak, they just don't think about it, and whatever comes out, comes out. And we often speak because no one taught us how to speak. There are no schools for speaking. We don't even know how we make certain sounds. Like if I tell a student, okay, we're going to make a K sound, what is happening in your mouth? Nobody knows because we never learned. We just imitated. So often people who come to me when they speak like their father, they speak like their mother, and whatever they learned as a baby by listening and imitating is how they speak today.
Right.
And we can improve, everyone can improve their voice because it's just a machine, it's just a mechanism.
So it's the voice, but it's also the way we pronounce it and articulate it. One of the things that I've often oh gosh, I lost my train of thought right there. Well, what was I going to say?
Think of the voice too as not just an articulator, but it's an instrument. So if you lower your voice box, that changes it. If I raise my voice box, it changes it.
I try.
I can be more nasal. Be less nasal.
That's that's the alien
typing.
voice.
You just want to know where all the buttons are, all the switches, and so you can change. You can be more this, more that, less dull, more airy, less airy, and simply by futzing with one little element, the voice can be so much more beautiful, pleasing to the ear, or have more power if it tends to be too soft and dull.
In speaking, and this is what I was going to say that I forgot. In speaking, when we do like the news or something like that, I think we articulate a little bit more than when we're just talking, and it sounds weird to articulate. Like we speak right now because we're having a conversation with a little bit of a slur, maybe a little bit of a relaxed delivery, whereas when you're doing the news or something, it's a little bit more structured. Just the delivery. It feels like it to me anyway.
Better.
Yeah. Enunciate. Thank you.
Yes, we don't want to seem too prissy. If I were to speak to you right now and enunciate clearly every word, I would sound rather odd because it actually takes effort.
And you know who you sounded like when you did that?
Who?
That lady who can channel like different spirits. What's her name?
Long Island Medium?
What's her name?
The Long Island Medium?
No. She's got that Long Island accent. No, there's another lady. She channels like 17 different spirits and they talk through one voice or something.
Yeah.
That's how she speaks.
I can't remember her name.
It sounds odd. So we want to be relaxed, and that means we're going to slur a little bit. We're not going to, we don't say our final T's. People don't realize that we don't really say, and we don't say our final T's either, like when we say stop. Oh, stop that. We don't say stop that.
Yes, exactly.
That's right. That's right.
So when they try to speak clearly, they'll say, stop that. And then it sounds very odd because people don't actually say that.
But see, when I have to say asked the audience, I have to say the K. I mean, otherwise, people say, what'd they do?
That's right.
What did they do to the audience?
What'd you say? That's a hard word, too.
That's right. Ask.
Lisa Popeil is our guest. We have to take a little break, and we'll be right back. We are going to learn. When we come back, I want to know the 5 secrets to beautiful speaking and singing. Lisa is here to help us with that, and maybe she can give us a report card on how we're doing so far.
Yes.
Maybe we're making some mistakes already that she's noticed. We'll be right back.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident. Sunshine mixing with clouds today. There'll be a thunderstorm in the area during the afternoon hours, high 89 to 93. Partly cloudy tonight, though 71 to 75. Sunshine mixing with clouds tomorrow with a couple of thunderstorms around in the afternoon, high 84 to 90. For Wednesday, a couple of heavy thunderstorms, otherwise clouds and some sun, high 83 to 87. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg.
Hi, I'm Yvette, and I'm here to tell you a few things about ABC Frederick's Appliance. They sell not only new, but used guaranteed appliances. When you call ABC Frederick's Appliance, they will provide service on what they sell and any appliances that you own. ABC Frederick's Appliance is located in Bellevue, right over the railroad tracks. Call 352-629-5181. That's 352-629-5181. That's 352-629-5181. ABC Frederick's Appliance.
All right, 19 minutes after 9 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. Lisa Popeil is on the phone. She is going to tell us the 5 secrets to beautiful speaking and singing. And Lisa, before you start that, you know what I just thought of during the break? Do you know this pitch correction software that they have?
Yes.
Nowadays, whenever you hear somebody singing and you hear this beautiful voice on a record and you say, wow, I love that voice, and somebody who's like jealous of them or something, they'll say, well, anybody can do that nowadays. So it's like, well, that's not fair.
And it's not true. Just because your pitch gets corrected doesn't give you an automatic beautiful voice. So it doesn't change the sound that much.
So is that part of what you do? You help people with pitch perfection or whatever?
Yeah, that's one of the many things I do. There's so much to cover. I mean, I even, give piano lessons, and people just love music. They just need to have music and self-improvement in their life, and if they can combine self-improvement and music and creativity, maybe writing songs. But most people come in because they have a problem they want to fix. They either think they have a problem whether they do or not, or people have said they have a problem, or they're just interested in this mysterious thing called voice. It's invisible, and so it's hard to know what to do and if they're doing it right. And they just want a professional ear to give them some feedback. Am I doing it right? What is this thing? How do I do stuff?
Now, to me, let's talk about accents just for a second. I have a watered down New York accent because I'm from New York, but I've been here a while, so I don't know to your ears what it sounds like. But to me, you've got the non-accent, but yet somebody in England would hear an accent in you.
Well, they would just hear a generic American accent.
Really?
But I'm actually from Chicago, and so I've had a few trigger words that when I came to California, I said ja, la. I never said back and cat. I never said that, but I used to say ja instead of jaw. So I'm more aware of that now. But when I go to England, I love to practice my English accent, and there's lots of them. That's another thing, is that every person you speak to has a different British accent, and that fascinates me.
Yeah.
And that's what's truly amazing about some of the great actors like Nicole Kidman. She has done this variety of roles, and her accent, the original accent, doesn't shine through. Is that very difficult for someone to be so self-conscious about that, to act in like a 2-hour movie and not fall back?
If you think about the British and the Australian actors, they're much better at doing an American accent than Americans are at doing their accents. Mm-hmm. And I think it's because they're exposed to American television from a very early age. Both in Australia and in England. So they hear the way we speak. They love American culture, for the most part, and they hear it in their ear during the time that their brains are forming. But kids here, when they watch television, they don't hear those other accents. So it takes practice, yes, for them to master the American accent, but it's also part of their brains from an early age. And we're just not very good at it.
And I think the group Green Day made a statement one time. What's the guy's name?
Armstrong.
Billy Joe Armstrong?
Yeah.
He made a statement one time. He said, "We're an American band imitating a British band imitating an American band." Yeah, so I guess in that world, whoever you're influenced by, like if you hear the rappers, like you could have a rapper from some southern town where the speaking accent is so different than their singing or rapping accent, because they're rapping like they grew up in the ghetto of New York, and there's some pale white kid in Macon, Georgia or something. Like Eminem.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah, what happened with him? How did that happen for him?
Where did he come from?
Yeah.
Since singing seems to be a profession for some people, does the voice get hurt if you do different things? Like if you're a track and field runner, for instance, when you're running and you're breathing and doing all this stuff, and then maybe you want to perform at the local theater or something like that. Is there anything that a person does to protect their voice from all that wind and grit and stuff that gets in there?
I don't think that running is necessarily a problem, though it could dehydrate the surface of the vocal fold tissue, so you just drink extra water for that. One thing that is weightlifting. In weightlifting, in heavy weights, people will use the vocal cords as a valve, and they'll squeeze it and do the big grunt, and that's actually harmful to
I bet it is, yeah. I can picture.
So if somebody's a weightlifter,
Sounds like sex too.
It's not. Yeah, you get. Is that why you're hoarse afterwards? But if you listen to weightlifters, they're often hoarse when they speak, and that's the reason. From that loud squeezing and grunting.
Either that or.
Or yes, they probably didn't. They can't lift the weight as much.
Sumo wrestlers.
my notes.
So,
go ahead,
if you are a weightlifter and you want to protect your cords, the two pieces of advice are to not lift as heavy weight and to keep and blow when you lift. You go like that. You exhale, and that allows the cords to not close and squeeze. So little things like that. But and you can't be a screamer. You can't be a drill sergeant and be a singer. Mm-hmm. You can't be a cheerleader and be a singer, because you're you're killing your core.
I would imagine, yeah, it hurts. I want to make sure that the listeners know that you do have a program where they don't need to go to LA to be with you, and you can help them learn to improve their speaking and singing. But my notes say that you can give our listeners an instant lesson over the phone.
I can, and I have tips that anyone can use that work right away. But
Okay.
I also give Skype lessons. It's the new world. So
Oh, really?
Nice.
I have students, strange, New Zealand, Moscow, India, and I can hear and see them perfectly on the computer screen. No headphone required. And all of that's available through my website. Plus, on my website, I have lots of free vocal tips mostly for singing. So I've got lots of free information.
And tell me your website. What's your website?
It's my last name, Popeil. It's Popeil.com.
Okay, Popeil.com. And Robin actually put it on the guest list, so it makes it easy for our listeners that are driving. So let's have a lesson. Let's find out. How. By the way, what's your report card for Robin and me? How are we doing?
Well, Larry, I love your voice. It's not the traditional, radio voice, and I don't think it needs to be.
No.
You have a
Wouldn't that be weird, though?
You have good flow. You have good airflow, so it's a very smooth and soothing voice. And I really like your melody too. It's very natural, very
Thank you.
relaxed,
Thank you.
but not tired. Not depressed. Thank you very much.
I love that.
And
Robin, here's your report card.
I have a few tips for Robin, if you're game.
Oh, good. I'm ready.
Okay. Where are you from, Robin?
I
Wisconsin.
knew that was coming.
Wisconsin. Okay.
Yes.
So one tip I'd like to give you is to imagine that you're just beginning to yawn. And notice that when you're just beginning to yawn, your soft palate rises a little bit, like a little umbrella. And now would you please say, yo, yo, yo. Let me hear that with that yawn feeling. Yo, yo, yo.
Good. Start to yawn.
Okay. Yo, yo, yo.
One more time. Sit or stand really tall, back of the neck super long, and yawny say, yo, yo, yo.
Yo, yo, yo.
There we go. That's what I'm talking about.
Yay.
That was really gorgeous.
1-800. Well, I'm going to be a 1-900 person now.
Do they still have 1-900 numbers?
So when you raise the soft palate like that, it makes you less nasal, and it also lowered your voice box a little bit. And that made you richer, deeper, more creamy, luscious sounding. So
Oh, there you go.
simple changes inside the mouth and throat can be night and day.
Nice.
So you sent us a CD, right? Did I get a CD?
Did I send it? Was it the How to Speak Beautifully CD?
I think so.
Is it here?
I
Little blue-
thought I
light
saw
blue.
something here.
Okay.
But is that like
me go look.
is that a CD that will give lessons with the CD?
Oh, that one is just tips, 20 minutes, and people can put it in their car and just practice along with it on the way to work. It's just my best tips on instant vocal improvement for speaking.
Okay.
And then I've got the Total Singer DVD program. It's got a 90-minute DVD. It made it in the mid-90s, so my hair is much longer and I have makeup on. And it has a CD, practice CD, and a booklet, and that's also available. And I also have a daily vocal warm-up for pop singers, for male and female.
All right. And by the way, I used to work at a Coliseum in New York, the Nassau Coliseum, and I was privy to some of that. I was amazed that some of them actually do these warm-up things before they go on to the stage. And so I've seen I haven't seen Cher in person, but I watched one of those DVD things, and even Cher was backstage warming up, and Aerosmith or Steven Tyler was back there screaming. So
And a lot of people, I think, over warm up. They think, oh, the more I warm up, the better. But because singing is such a special use of the voice, I mean, you need intense power, you need high notes, you need low notes, you need a smoothness from your low note. It's beyond speaking.
Well,
So you have to warm up.
the whole American Idol phenomenon has caused like small towns like Ocala to have their own like American Idol type of. We have them all the time, Ocala's Got Talent and that kind of thing. So, and I know there's a lot of people in our community that would probably want to win those things, and I've gone to some, and they're just amazingly talented. But if you want to improve, go to the website. Lisa can help you out. Lisa, is that the best thing to tell them? We're almost out of time. Popeil.com?
Yes.
Okay. Well, you were fun. Thank you for being on there with us today.
Oh, I enjoyed it so much. Great questions, too.
And you're definitely welcome back anytime. Thank you for being on the air with us today.
Thanks, Larry. Bye.
Go
Bye,
to
Robin.
Popeil.com, Popeil.com, and do the Skype thing.
Yes.
Get some voice lessons. We'll be right back. This is The Source, WOCA Ocala.
Fox News Radio, I'm Karen McHugh. How to fight ISIS. It's what the U.S. and several allies are talking about in Paris right now.
This is a chance for America to take a step back, to say that it is not just an American-led attack on positions in Iraq and perhaps in Syria too, but this is a broad coalition.
Robert Nisbet of Sky News in the French capital. Residents of northeastern Pennsylvania on edge as the hunt for the killer of one state trooper and wounding of another intensifies.
I think everyone should keep their doors locked and stuff because he could be anywhere.
Crime Stoppers posted a $50,000 reward for information leading to the killer.
He's armed and dangerous, obviously. If he's going to kill cops, he'll kill anyone.
Dave Kinchin with Fox TV affiliate WTXF reporting. Tourists and residents in Mexico's Cabo San Lucas seeking shelter against the storm. Hurricane